No, no te va a quemar.
No te quema.
Descends pas trop, Lionel, descends pas trop!
Two firefighters are dead. 20,000 people have been forced from their homes overnight. And the fire that caused it grew 6 times in size in under 3 hours. Southwestern France is facing one of its most dangerous wildfire emergencies in years. A fast-moving blaze in the Gironde region broke out this week near the towns of Lacanau and Somos, close to Bordeaux. Within hours, it had exploded through dense pine forest at a rate that left firefighters unable to keep pace. By Thursday, between 2,000 and 3,100 hectares had burned, with the flames advancing rapidly toward the resort towns of Arcachon and the Lège Cap Ferret Peninsula on the Atlantic coast. This is the same coastline that burned catastrophically in 2022. The scars from those fires are still visible in the landscape, and now the fire is coming back. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the situation in France is still developing, a second major fire has broken out to the south, and temperatures across the region are forecast to climb as high as 40 degrees Celsius in the coming days. More than 20,000 residents, campers, and tourists have been ordered to evacuate the area around Arcachon Bay, one of the most popular summer destinations in southwestern France. Roads have been closed, campsites emptied overnight. Thousands of people were seen sleeping on beaches or gathered in emergency shelters as smoke filled the sky above the coastline. And then the news that cast a shadow over everything else. 2 firefighters lost their lives earlier this week while battling a separate blaze near Bordeaux-Mérignac Airport.
Langue de feu. Les brûleurs sont de plus en plus acculés.
Their vehicle became trapped as flames reaching up to 30 meters into the air swept through the trees around them while they were trying to stop the fire from spreading toward the airport. 30 meters. That is the height of a 10-story building. A wall of fire, moving through pine forest at that height, moves faster than any vehicle can reverse on a forest road. The head of Gironde's Fire and Rescue Service said the entire department is standing in solidarity with the families of the 2 firefighters and with all the crews still battling the flames. Officials say the tragedy has cast a heavy shadow over an already exhausting fire season for emergency services across the region.
Non, c'est pas possible.
Théma devant la maison. Là, ça devient hardcore, Mehdi. Mehdi et tout ça qui veut envoyer la vie.
The Gironde prefecture placed the department under its highest fire alert level, citing an exceptionally high risk of new fires breaking out. Under the red alert, authorities have banned access to vulnerable forest areas during afternoon and evening hours, prohibited the use of any equipment capable of producing sparks, suspended outdoor sports and cultural events, and banned fireworks, sky lanterns, and the burning of green waste anywhere in the department.
Voilà, je suis arrêté au rond-point du Jiffy, et voilà, je filme. C'est la cata, quoi. Et ça brûle, ça brûle, ça brûle.
Officials have stressed that the vast majority of wildfires in the region are started by human activity. More than 100 people have already been arrested across France this summer in connection with fires believed to have been deliberately or carelessly started.
Je coupe.
The Gironde fire is not the only active front. In the Var department on the Mediterranean coast between Marseille and Nice, a separate wildfire has been burning for several days near the town of Ponteves, consuming roughly 2,500 hectares. That fire destroyed around 10 homes and damaged 50 more before firefighters managed to bring it under control. Though officials caution it has not yet been fully extinguished, with pockets still smoldering. The return of strong Mistral winds has raised fears the Var fire could flare up again at any moment. Further south, on the island of Corsica, crews are still working to contain a blaze in the mountains near Corday that had been thought to be under control before it began spreading again. More than 640 hectares have burned on the island so far. In the Alps, a wildfire near Argentière-la-Bessée in the Haute-Alpes continues to burn. Having already consumed around 200 hectares of mountain terrain. France has placed 5 departments, Var, Gard, Hérault, Bouches-du-Rhône, and Aude, under red-level wildfire risk warnings, citing dangerously dry vegetation and the likelihood of strong winds fanning new fires in the coming days. And then, overnight, a second major emergency erupted.
Alors le dash qui arrive, est-ce qu'il va éjecter sur l'RPA ou est-ce qu'il va mettre sur le feu ou il va rien faire?
A new wildfire broke out in the Landes region just south of Gironde, near the towns of Biscarrosse, Parentis-en-Born, and Ichoux. The fire has already burned through more than 6,000 acres of forest, forcing the evacuation of 23,000 residents and visitors overnight.
Ouais.
Roads have been closed. Emergency shelters set up. 350 firefighters and 70 military personnel are working to contain the blaze. Several homes and an industrial zone have already been affected. 5 emergency responders have suffered injuries. This is a second coastal community under direct threat within the same week. Fire crews that have been stretched thin by days of continuous firefighting in Gironde are now being pulled south to protect Landes while the Gironde fire is still burning. According to the European Forest Fire Information System, France has now burned through more than 42,800 hectares of land so far this year. That is more than 4 times the average for this point in the season, and it has already surpassed the total area burned during the historic 2022 wildfire season, which had previously been considered the worst in decades. Forecasters say a brief weather break may arrive over the weekend as storms move across the south, but early indications point to another heat wave forming shortly afterward, raising serious concerns about a further surge in fire activity in the weeks ahead. The fire conditions that drove today's emergency, prolonged drought, record summer heat, and shifting winds, are the same conditions that climate scientists have been warning about for years. Extreme fire seasons across the Mediterranean region are becoming more frequent and more severe. France's 2022 season was supposed to be exceptional. It is now the baseline that 2026 is surpassing. Subscribe and hit the bell, because this situation across France is still evolving, and the next update on what is burning and where could come before morning.